Hey folks, this is Matt once again, and welcome back to another review of the fourth Indiana Jones film, the much hated, the much despised, a film called one of the worst films of all time, one of the worst sequels of all time. To me, a criminally underrated flick, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. And this won't just be a review, it'll be me defending the film. Because the film is just not that fucking bad. I'm sorry. And you just say, well, you just like Indiana Jones, so you'd see him in anything. Well, hell, you just say the same for John McClane, but granted, I saw A Good Day to Die Hard in the theater, and I had fun at the movie experience, but then when I went home and bought it on Blu-ray, and I did a video ranting on it, I'm like, yeah, I can see why people crapped on this Die Hard 5. Yeah, Jesus, I can understand. Bruce Willis is sleepwalking, and John Moore's a shitty director, and I can't defend and won't defend Die Hard 5. I did when it came on the theater, but at home, no. So there's, Beverly Hills Cop 3 is a piece of shit. Alien 3 sucks my dick. Alien Resurrection is shit. But I love Alien and Aliens. I'm just thinking of other franchises which I really like, and there are films I don't like in them. But I love all four Rambo films, and I enjoy all four of these movies. Indiana Jones Kingdom Crystal Skull, yeah, out of the four, I would put it last. I put Raiders and Temple of Doom at the top, then Last Crusade, then this one. Yeah, I could do without the CGI monkeys and gophers, which honestly, in a total time of maybe a minute of screen time, literally, if you time it, it's a minute. If it's more than a minute, I'll be surprised. I'm not going to shit on a movie for a minute. If that's the case, then Transformers is the best movie ever because it has some cool action scenes that last more than a minute. John Williams' score is not that memorable compared to the first three, but you could say the same thing with The Force Awakens, which I have no problem with the guy personally, but just the other day on Facebook, he was mentioning how The Force Awakens is one of the greatest films of all time. And granted, that's his opinion, just like this is my opinion on this movie, but I disagree. I don't think The Force Awakens is one of the greatest films of all time, but hey, that's my opinion. But I mention that because that score by John Williams isn't memorable compared to Empire Strikes Back or, the original. Audi John Williams' score is a letdown compared to the first three, although it's still great to hear the theme, but at least Temple of Doom, Last Crusade had their own original pieces to it. Like and Last Crusade. Here, not so much. And the CGI monkeys. And I remember on Facebook I mentioned how I think there's too much CGI, but that was before I watched the film again, which is tonight. Honestly, I would put that only to the ending of the film, when everything's crumbling down. Granted, I don't know how you could do that practically. It'd be tough. But that's the one part of the film I could say too much CGI. The rest of the film, there is a good balance of actual practical sets. And even like in the jungle, there's some CGI enhancements, but there's a lot of practical when they're in the jungle sequence and the car chase sequence. And especially in the warehouse at the beginning of the film, there's a lot of practical stunt work. And just watching this and noticing how the camera work is so far removed from today's age of quick cuts and shaky cam. A lot of fluid shots and person going from here to here and something happened and going from here to here and moving the camera on like steady cams, and there's a lot of practical sets and practical stunt sequences as well. I mean, other than too much CGI at the end, the John Williams score being not up to par to the first three, and the little CGI monkey and prairie dog thing, which the prairie dog thing, literally it's like 7 seconds total. Each one's like 2 seconds here, 2 seconds here, then like 3 seconds there. I mean, and then the monkey's like, again, less than a minute. Those three things. What is so bad about this film? I just asked. I looked up reviews, and I know like Red Letter Media and all these guys say it's one of the worst. Yet they give The Force Awakens the pass. I don't understand that, and I'll get more into that later. I looked at this film. I had fun. It was entertaining. It was exciting. I saw this in the theater back in 2008. I had a big grin on my face. I've seen this film more than once in between from 2008 to now. I had a big grin on my face. I just got done watching it, and literally since I did this Indiana Jones marathon, I was watching all of them, and I popped this in, and I had a grin on my face at the end of it. And this close to being teary-eyed, because I love this series so much. And yeah, it's the least of the four, but still a fun, entertaining popcorn movie, which is what the Indiana Jones films are supposed to be. Hell, if you see Steven Spielberg's earliest interview for the first film, he mentions how these films were never meant... Well, Raiders of the Lost Ark, before he was even filming, it's not meant to be realistic. It was inspired by the 30s and 40s serials, just like this is, but also a big point is the 50s B movies. It was literally taking the 30s, 40s serials and mixed them with 1950s B movies. That's why it takes place in the 50s, and you have some fun stuff that is influenced totally by 50s B movies style, mixed with 30s, 40s serials. I guess people don't like that. I did, because it made it kind of fun, different from the other films, unique from the other films. It didn't just remake A New Hope. Except, oh, the male has tits. The lead has tits now. Like The Force Awakens. Indiana Jones is the star of the fucking movie. He's not in it for 10, 15 minutes to do basically nothing but run from a CGI creature, then go on a walkway and die from stupidity because him and the person he loved had a genocidal twit for his son who's a crybaby. Kylo Ren. Or have some other characters, oh yeah, I trained these people, and then they fucking all died because one of them went apeshit. It became a genocidal crybaby twit. And then I decided to run away and hide on a hill. Waiting, I guess, for the fucking Highlander arrives, so I could cut his head off and can be only one, I guess. A.k.a., oh, I'm Luke. I'm gonna run away because I'm a chicken shit. Here, wow, Terry Allen gets to come back, which is a great point from the first film. And by the end, they get married. And you even think they're going to do, oh, they're going to do the passing of the torch. And they don't do that because Shia LaBeouf is about ready to put the hat on, and Indy takes it and puts it on his head and walks off with Marion, his bride. So they don't do the passing of the torch. Indiana Jones is the star of the movie. He's kicking ass. He's shooting fucking bazookas. He's swinging the whip and swinging around. He's punching the shit out of people with the same classic sound effects from the first three films. Beating the shit out of people. Shooting bazookas. Dealing with traps like at the end, which looked like a real practical thing where the steps are sliding inward and they gotta hurry down. That's a really cool sequence. What the fuck did Han Solo do in The Force Awakens other than, oh shit, my ship got stolen again, and I'm with Chewie and I ran away from a shitty looking CGI creature. And then the woman flies the Millennium Falcon, the action scene, Han Solo didn't do shit. And because Han Solo didn't even arrive by that point. Him and Leia had no chemistry with each other, and then he walks in a walkway and dies from stupidity. But yet that gets the praise, and that's like, yeah, it's fucking awesome. It gets an 8.2 or whatever on IMDb, and it got jerked off by the critics, like 97% Rotten Tomatoes and 8.2 on IMDb. People say it's the best ever, and I'm like, why? Because it looks good for effects? I'll give you that. But that takes a shit on the characters. Hey, Return of the Jedi, they won. Doesn't matter though, because they're going to come back 10 times as strong because they have 10 times as many people. They have a Death Star 10 times the size of the old one. And Luke is a chicken shit that ran away because he fucked up. And he's waiting again on a fucking mountain, waiting for someone to, cut his head off to get his power to be, so they could be only one. And yeah, that's a great Return of the Jedi. It's a Return of the Jedi, just so the next one there could be like 2 or 3 Jedis again, just like before. Just like in the first movie, fucking, as in A New Hope, the first one. It didn't matter that they want Return of the Jedi, because they're 10 times fault. All they did was change their names. So the Empire with the First Order. Yeah, that's a great story. This, Indiana Jones is still kicking ass, taking names, being an adventurer. He's a man who knows, they say that he's getting older, so people say he's too old, Harrison Ford's too old. They say it in the movie. Him swinging and he swings back in a really good practical stunt. Damn, I thought that was closer. And there's even a good line where he's with the dean, and the dean says, it's about that time where life stops giving us things and they start taking things away. And it shows that times have changed from when he was in the first 3 films in the 30s, and here is now the 50s. Where it's Russians instead of Nazis, and it's communism and the Red Scare, and again, it's also doing from 30s, 40s to putting 50s element of 50s B movies. I like that. They were trying something different, and people pretty much opened their mouths, dumped their pants, and took the shit in their mouths. But The Force Awakens, let's just copy and paste the first A New Hope. Yeah! Fuck that. I call bullshit, but yet this is one of the worst films, one of the worst sequels ever. Shia LaBeouf. People complain about Shia LaBeouf. What's so bad? Yeah, the guy's nuts in real life. But I liked him in Disturbia, and I liked that movie. I like him in Eagle Eye, and I liked that movie. And I thought he did fine. He's playing a rebellious kid in the 50s with a leather jacket. Hell, as I'm watching the film again, he doesn't even have that many lines of dialogue. He has enough, but Indiana Jones is purely the lead. He's front and center. He's kicking, he's punching, he's solving everything. It's not like the Expendables 3, where the Expendables disappear for like 40 minutes of the movie. It's not like it's Independence Day 2, which was a shitty it's a sequel, but they pretty much just remade the first one, only sucked assholes, and they didn't even know who the fuck the lead of that movie was. You have great set pieces of action. I like the story of the Crystal Skull. People are like, oh, fuck aliens. Why do it have to be aliens? I'm like, it's based on a real legend. Now, they don't follow... There was another guy. He was a very nice guy. Not sure if he wants me to say his name. But he was having a conversation, because I mentioned I was going to review this. Like, well, that nitpick I have is... There's the legend of the Crystal Skull is that, like, something about 13 skulls get brought together, and then it caused the end of the world. Well, if that's the legend, they didn't follow that legend. They based it on the legend of the Crystal Skull, but they did their own thing. But they did the same thing with the 10 Commandments. I don't think the 10 Commandments, if you look it up, is really, there's an arc, and if you open up, your face melts. I don't think that's the legend of the 10 Commandments. If it is, I gotta start reading the Bible. I don't think the Holy Grail is there's a guy in a cave, and if you go, after going through 3 traps, he will either say, you have chosen poorly, or you have chosen wisely. I don't think that's the legend of the Holy Grail. If it is, I gotta look that shit up. So they base it on that, but they took their own stuff. Where there are other crystal skulls, like Indiana Jones mentions, there's one he saw in a museum, and then at the beginning we see one, but these Russians are looking for one specific one that belongs in Akator, which is, I believe, in the Amazon, and that it needs to be brought back. And the Russians think, led by Cate Blanchett, which I thought she did fine in the role. She played a good villain. I think she was just as fine a villain as the villains in the third movie, Last Crusade. I don't even remember the names of the villains in the third movie, actually. But these guys, I thought Cate Blanchett did just as fine as those. And why do people have a hissy fit on the alien thing? Can someone explain it to me? First of all, again, it takes place in the 1950s, and what was happening? Roswell, alien flying saucer movies, all that type of stuff. Of course, Stormy an influence. And again, it's based. Again, they do their own thing, just like they did with the Ten Commandments and the Holy Grail. They base it on actual archaeologists. How many fucking documentaries are there? People who build the pyramids or all this other shit, or crystal skulls, which is the thing you don't look up to find out the real legend. How many say, oh, were the gods really men from space or men from dimensions or whatever? I mean, isn't that the premise of Stargate? I guess you hate Stargate. I don't hate Stargate. I've grown used to Stargate. I wasn't always a fan of Stargate, but at least it has Kurt Russell and James Woods and a great score. So I just remember when I first saw Stargate, I was disappointed because I'm like, oh, they went through it. It's just a bunch of sand. But I've grown, because, I mean, hell, yeah, Kurt Russell saying, say hello to King Tut, asshole. I mean, you know, I'm watching like, yeah, I can't hate the movie who has a line like that from Kurt fucking Russell, you know. But you hate Stargate, I guess, or Stargate SG-1? See, that's what I don't get. So you can deal with 10 Commandments that are in an ark, that you open it up, and fucking ghosts come out to give you the kiss of death, Sonya Blade style, and fucking turn you into melting faces or blow your head up. Or put fucking lightning in your chest and eyeballs. You can buy that. You can buy magic stones and ripping hearts out and the person's still alive. And 3 magic stones that glow and being fed shit and oomps-a-day, you know. You can buy a knight living thousands of years in a fucking cave just waiting for someone to take a drink from a cup. But you can't buy this? To me, it's potato and potato. I mean, it's... Honestly, it's the same difference. What is the big difference? Well, it's because it's religious. Well, to some people... Well, I guess Scientology. That's a religion for some folks. But it's beliefs that people have and legends. I mean, that's what it's supposed to be about. Legends, right? Legends. I mean, I like that. It was a big idea. It was a fun idea. I'm sure someone will ask, well, what? You want to see Rambo fight aliens and get a C4 tipped explosive arrow and blow up aliens and, you know, shoot aliens with machine guns? Actually, yeah, I would. Fun. If they made a Die Hard 6 with John McClane versus, like, the Predator, or a Rambo film versus the Predator, which at one point Stallone wanted to do a horror film with Rambo. Then people took a shit on it. So, of course, we don't get that movie. Just like they took a shit on this movie. But fuck it, I got a very fun, entertaining movie out of it. Yeah, I do want to see that. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, absolutely. I actually do. What? He's going to get another religious artifact? So what? What was that one game? I didn't play, but I saw clips of. The Staff of Moses? Here's a staff. It's the Staff of Moses. It'd be the same shit as Raiders of the Lost Ark. Oh, I'm sorry. That's what people want. Maybe people want a remake. Just like The Force Awakens. I know I'm being a dead horse, but it's a horse that deserves to be beat to fucking death. I don't understand why that film gets the pass and just gets gas from an ass. I don't understand it. Harrison Ford is not sleepwalking. He's doing a great job as Indiana Jones. Shia LaBeouf does fine. He's not annoying fucking crybaby twit like the fucker Kylo Wan from Force Awakens. He doesn't even. You watch the film again. He doesn't have as much lines as you think, and he helps out, and he doesn't give Indiana Jones so much shit to. Oh, he's fucking annoying. Watch the film again. He's not even giving Indiana Jones that much annoyance. He's helping out, and he does fine. And he holds his own. Karen Allen was such a treat, and she compare her to. I'm sorry. I mean, I don't mean to be rude to her, but compare Leia in The Force Awakens, and you look at Karen Allen. This Karen Allen looks like she wants to be there, and she has such a smile and spirit to her, and her and Harrison Ford have better chemistry than Harrison Ford did with Leia herself and Carrie Fisher in Force Awakens. Literally, you just take those two scenes, you put them back to back. Like the first time Marion appears, you see Indy's face. you? Like, that was a pure treat, being a big fan of the first film. I don't get the problem with the aliens. It's like they're okay with magic stones. Oh, I'm sorry, Temple of Doom was hated, called a piece of shit until this film came out. Then all of a sudden people love Temple of Doom. I've always loved Temple of Doom. I didn't just, well, I love it just 5 minutes ago, now that this film came out. I've always loved Temple of Doom. But yeah, they're okay with magic stones and ripping hearts out, and the people are still alive, and they're okay with a knight sitting on his ass for 1,000 years. Now, I guess he didn't have to take the shit, because there's no shit in the cave. Well, he's immortal, so I guess he doesn't have to take the piss. There's no piss in the cave. It would smell like piss and shit. I guess you don't have to do that if you're immortal, because you don't have to eat, so I guess you're frozen in time. Everyone's okay with a knight staying in the cave for thousands of years, waiting for someone to drink from a cup, but aliens are so crazy. That's so crazy! For some... I don't get it. It's like a red apple and a green apple. They're both apples. I guess one you think is more delicious than the other, but like... Honestly, for me, the better analogy is a green apple and an orange. I enjoy both. And they're both fruit, and I enjoy both, but they're different. So, the problem with Shia LaBeouf, I don't understand. Again, I like him in Disturbing and Eagle Eye. I don't... Transformers. People mention Transformers. I think the writing in Transformers films that Michael Bay directs, they're a big fucking problem with those. They're shit writing with shit jokes of piss and fucking ghetto slang. You don't have that kind of stupid humor in this film. The humor in this film is in tone with the humor in the other films. You don't have shit jokes, piss jokes, fart jokes. You don't have pussy fart jokes. Like we have a Ghostbusters film now, that shitty reboot, that had a pussy fart joke. It wasn't from the back, it was from the front. A pussy fart joke. This film didn't do that. The humor works fine. The acting works fine. I actually like Ray Winstone, who's sort of mad, and he's like, betrays Indy, then he thinks he's, a friend, and I actually like the actor Ray Winstone. John Hurt did fine. Pretty much he was just there to be their guide, and he didn't have much dialogue, and hey, he's John Hurt from Alien. I'm fine with him. Newt the Fridge. I guess I should get to that. Everyone talks about Newt the Fridge. It's too much. It's too unrealistic. There is a fucking Fast and Furious movie that got a lot of praise and pass off the ass, where Vin Diesel and Paul Walker drive through like 2 or 3 fucking buildings in pure CGI. Or Vin Diesel literally takes his car. Here's a helicopter. He takes his car, goes upside down, does this, and hunt a fucking batch of grenades onto a bottom of a helicopter while his car did a twist in midair and then crashed, blows up the helicopter, and he gets waking up because in 2 seconds his woman all of a sudden has no amnesia anymore, gives him a kiss, and all of a sudden Vin Diesel is fine, and people are fine with that. And I didn't hate Fast and Furious 7. I was disappointed, But I didn't hate it. And yeah, I will admit, I said some stuff was a bit unrealistic. People called me on that. I did. And I think maybe that's with this thing. They felt it went too far. But honestly, part of my problem with that's a film with too much CGI. Like, this has CG, but I would say the too much is at the end. There's still a lot of practical stuff in here. Fast Furious 7, like, between the two, Fast Furious 7 has more CG. Sadly enough. But I didn't hate Fast and Furious 7. I mean, like, I wouldn't call that one of the worst fucking sequels of all time, is what I'm saying. God, that has more outlandish shit than this movie. Fast and Furious films, but I like 5 and 6. They have outlandish shit, and people give them the pass. Especially 5, 6, and 7, and I like 5 and 6. 7, again, I don't hate. That's why if you look at my review, it doesn't say rant on it, but it was just like, it's not as good as people said it was. I think that was the thing, like, people put up to here, I'm like, it's not that high, maybe, you know. Just, I don't think this film is fucking bottom of the barrel. It doesn't deserve to be on South Park, where fucking Spielberg and Lucas are raping Indiana Jones on an episode of South Park. I'm like, it's that bad? No. Besides, fuck South Park. I like the movie they did, but I don't care for the TV show. But I don't mind their South Park movie. Team America sucks ass. I'd rather watch basketball. That's just my opinion. But the Newt the Fridge scene, I enjoyed it. I had fun. I know Steven Spielberg came up with the idea, and he's kind of, he thinks it's funny that it's become sort of a catchphrase now, Newt the Fridge, kind of like Jump the Shark. Fast and Furious 7, they didn't do, they flew the building, or they flew over the building, or they jumped through the building. They didn't do a remark for that, but that's some crazy outlandish shit. But even when I mention it, people are like, oh, come on, man, it's Fast and Furious set. You know, you can't expect realism from that. Same with these movies. But I like these movies more. I'll admit, I like these movies more than Fast. I like Fast and Furious 2, 5, 6, again, 7 I can watch. The first film is there. But I'm more a fan of Indiana Jones. But do you know what I was saying? They've always been unrealistic. I'm sorry, in Temple of Doom, you don't fly from an airplane in a tiny raft with 3 people on it doing this. Literally doing this from a plane. About this long. Land, slide down a mountain, then fall from this waterfall. Land in the rapids, and there's not even a scratch, a broken bone. Hell, they're barely wet. Or Last Crusade, where they're driving their car, and then an airplane flies behind them, breaks off, slides behind them, keeps going, and blows up in front of them. I bet you get some physics, and they probably think that, well, when Sean Connery did that thing with the birds, I bet that's unrealistic. That, you know, the birds crashing through, and I don't know, maybe that wouldn't work. But believe me, if you want to put your thinking cap on realism with the Indiana Jones films, you can come up with a lot of shit, quote, wrong with all of those movies. And considering they're based on 30s, 40s serials, I guarantee I could find one that is almost just like the Newt the Fridge scene, where something totally ridiculous. How the hell is Indiana Jones going to get? How the hell is this person going to get out of this? And do we take those serials and that's unrealistic? Hey, you know what? That's unrealistic. You know. Hell, take every fucking action film from the 80s. Hey, you know when John McClane, he jumped off that building and it blew up, and you know that fire hose held just long enough for him to crash through? You know, I think that's unrealistic. You remember the movie Commando with Arnold? And he threw that steam pipe and it embedded in that guy, and steam came out of it. You know, I bet Mythbusters could say that's probably unrealistic. You know that whole ending of Commando? Which is, by the way, one of my favorite Arnold films. You know, I bet that's a bit unrealistic. You know, in RoboCop, I don't think they can make a new. They can't really make a RoboCop. I think that's unrealistic. You know, that's unrealistic. You know, in Total Recall, when half this shit in that movie, which is another great Schwarzenegger film, I bet that's unrealistic. You know, that scene where Arnold's eyes pop all the way out to about this far, and then when the air goes back in, even though his eyeballs have gone this far, they've gone all the way back in, and the eyeballs are perfectly fine, and he can see just fine. And it's not like his eyeballs just hanging there. He has perfect vision, not even any blood on him. And I love Total Recall, and I guarantee you Total Recall gets a lot more respect. And you know, it's a great movie. But I bet that's unrealistic. Surprised with Total Recall, they go, oh, let's pop in the eyeball. Like, jump the shark, pop the eyeball. Why don't we do that with Arnold Schwarzenegger Total Recall? Pop the eyeball. They jump the shark, nuke the fridge, pop the eyeball. I'll start a fucking website. Pop the eyeball. How about that? Just like they started with a nuke the fridge site. Pop the eyeball for Total Recall. 1990. But no one says shit. Just, we know these films are not, they're unrealistic and they're fun. When I saw it in the theater and I saw it even now, I'm like, oh shit. I like the way it was set up and like how Andy's going to get out of this one. And oh shit, I had fun with that. I chuckled the way you were supposed to. I just, you know, all the reasons I hear about it. If you're complaining about the John Williams score, I can understand. If you're complaining about the CGI monkeys and the little prairie dog stuff, yeah, it's like a minute of screen time, but I can understand. If you complain about too much CGI, I'd give you the finale of the film when everything's crumbling and being sucked up. That I can give you. Maybe use a bit like model work or maybe even tone it down a bit. But other than that, the storyline, really, I mean, these are storylines that all of them are crazy when you think about it. Really, the Ten Commandments, and they're just heads blowing up. Magic stones, you know, ripping hearts out and they're still alive. I mean, they're not ridiculous. I love them because they're fun. Black magic and... Or, nuke the fridge, that's too over the top. But the 50 scenes I can name you from the Fast and Furious movies are okay. And I could name probably every action film in the 80s that have ridiculous shit in it. Hell, I love that film to death. Are there ridiculous stuff in it? Yeah, there's a scene where Van Damme is standing on a motorcycle and... Although, granted, I don't care for that shot, but... I don't hate the movie because they had that shot of him literally surfing the motorcycle. Hell, the finale in the uncut version, he's doing flips, avoiding stuff. I love that. I love that shit. Oh shit, he shot so many bullets, there's not that many bullets in the gun. It's too unrealistic. I don't give a fuck. If he has a million bullets. If it's fun, it's fun. And I had fun. I had fun watching this movie, and I don't care how long this fucking video is. I want to have fun reviewing this movie. Fuck it. If there's 50 fucking videos hating on the film, then there might as well be a fucking hour-long video of at least someone defending it. Just all these reasons people give, I don't get. The storyline, the shot. What's so bad about... Again, in real life, he seems like a lunatic, but in this movie, what is really so bad about his performance? Hayden Christensen is pretty damn bad in Star Wars prequels. Fucking Channing Tatum, I've liked him in some movies, but Shia is better here than Channing Tatum is in pretty much all his movies. What's so bad about Shia's performance in this movie? And again, it's not like he takes over the show. Indiana Jones is still doing pretty much everything, which I loved about it. How I love the beginning when they had the old Paramount logo. Yeah, it's stupid that you have a little CG prairie dog, but it probably lasts like 3 seconds. And just watching this film again, just how things are filmed, and Spielberg definitely does not do shaky cam, and he definitely does not do quick millisecond cut editing. Wow, it feels like an older film, just the way the camera work is, and just the way it's filmed, and just the way it feels like an older film. And I'm fine with the look of the film. I think they use a little bit of filtering, but I kind of like it because it takes place in the 50s, and it's in tone with 50s B movies. I was fine with the look of the film. It was fun. And army people get killed, and we first see Andy in the trunk of a car. You have that great shot in shadow where it's the hat, and then you see the shadow of Andy picking up and put it on, and that music, and reveal of Andy. That was. I remember I saw it in the theater. I'm like, oh my god, that's really cool. And Harrison Ford's not sleepwalking. You want to sleepwalking? Unfortunately, watch Bruce Willis in the past 5 movies he's done. That's sleepwalking. I like that he says to his buddy Mac, put your hands down, you're embarrassing us. And the bad guys this time are the Russians and Cate Blanchett. And I like the idea that she says she kind of hints that maybe she has psychic powers. I love that Indy sort of laughs at her because it didn't work on him. And she says something like, oh, your mind's too strong. She says something, and Indy says, oh, ouch, like sarcastically. I like that. It's like the old Indy come back. And realizing, oh my god, this must be Area 51. Because there's like a gate that says 51 as the doors open. And pretty much the Russians want Indy to look through this warehouse and find something for them. And this is how you do references right. Because later on in the scene, when things are going apeshit, you see a bit of a crate. It's the Ark of the Covenant. But that's a good reference. Not remaking the entire fucking film like certain movies. Which happens more and more often. Jurassic World, a lot of those scenes were from Jurassic Park. Oh, here's 2 kids in a vehicle and a gigantic thing pushing them right from the ceiling and almost eating them from the ceiling and shit. Independence Day 2 is pretty much, oh, remember this scene from the first film? The new Blair Witch, all I've heard is, hey, it's just like the first one. I'm like, no shit, I said that. And I don't mean that in a rude way. I'm saying, yeah, I guessed it. The Thing prequel. It was John Carver's The Thing, only they call it a prequel. That's a common thing nowadays. But in this, I like the fact it's magnetic, and give me your gunpowder, and you're using it to point the way, and using shotgun shells, the metallic parts of it, to find where this crate is, which is a crystal skull, and this thing here. And I love the way this film opens up. You got Indy using his whip, whipping a gun out and whipping it to his friend, and getting the drop on the Russians, and finding out his buddy's a turncoat. And I like some of his lines, like "I like Ike," which made sense to say in the 50s. They're not just putting words in his mouth. Wait a minute, that'd be something you say in 2007 or 2008, not 1950. I forget the exact year. But like he drops a gun, which goes off and shoots a guy's foot, and he escapes, and great shots, swinging up, going back. Damn, I thought that was closer. He's on one vehicle to another. A lot of practical stunt work going on here. Driving one car through these crates and people flying off. Jump onto a light, swinging while these 2 cars collide. done practically, going up, and as that Indiana Jones music is playing. It's a really exciting scene. A really exciting opening sequence. And then he's fighting with this guy, and they fall through this glass on the floor, sort of like a skylight. They fall through, and once again, a great practical stunt where a guy's hanging and Indy swings and hits the guy, and the guy flies through the window. All done pretty much in one shot. Really good stunt. And it keeps going. They both fall into this big rocket sled, and they get pushed through onto this rocket sled, and by the end of it, they're really pretty much out of it. And Indy finds this town. He's running away, and he comes across. He's like, hey guys, I need your help. And he sees it's a bunch of mannequins. He's like, what's going on? And of course, we find out. I remember in the theater, I literally did go, oh shit. Oh my god. He realizes he's in a nuclear testing town, a site. And it's like, how the hell is Indy going to get out of this one? Which was the basis of those serials. How is the hero going to get out of this seemingly impossible event? It's like people going back to the Batman TV show with Adam West and going, that's unrealistic. That's too crazy. That's too insane. That's too silly. That's too insane, man. If Indiana Jones grew wings and flew up in the sky shooting laser beams out of his eyes and his ass, then I would say, yeah, that's too insane. Here, fuck you, okay, yeah, go in the fridge. These films are not based on realism, but that's something that would exactly be done be done in the serials, as well as 50s B movies. Yeah, because radioactivity makes ants into gigantic ants called Them. But that's a movie that's very much praised, even though it's unrealistic as fuck. And hell, I really like Them as well. It's one of my favorite 50s movies. Them. I didn't review it, just didn't have time, but I don't know how much I'm going to beat that dead horse. But, you know, sometimes it just... I think it's funny. It gets in the fridge and it flies off. And when he gets out, I really like the shot of the explosion. And then later on, they disinfect him. But that's unrealistic, too. Again, every fucking Indiana Jones film is unrealistic. Probably all these films in the 80s, they're unrealistic too. It'd be bare bad news. They are. Not that much. Are you sure? Sometimes you gotta go big or go home. And pretty much he gets talked with by these asshole guys. Say, oh, well, your buddy was a turncoat, and what do you have to do with it? Like dealing with the Red Scare at the time, communism, where McCarthy, you better admit you're a communist, and if you are, or tell other people, or, you know, we'll kick you out, we'll do this to you, which is what happens. Indy gets fired from his teaching job. And even the guy who was his friend, the dean, he had to resign. And that's where the dean says that good line where life stops giving us things and starts taking them away. And you have a nice moment for Sean Connery, because they asked Sean Connery to come back, and Sean said, nah, I'm enjoying retirement too much. And of course, the man who played Marcus, Dan O'Malley, he passed away. And they wanted Sala, they wanted him for the ending wedding, but John Rhys Davies, I think he said, well, you know, I think the audience would be like, well, wait a minute, how come he wasn't in early parts of the film? He was like, well, wait a minute, isn't Sala at a different, you know, continent? So it'd be hard to put Sala in there. So, but they didn't at least bring Sala in and say, hey, by the way, you have dysentery and you are going to die in 2 years. Take a shit on the character like that. Sean Connery, I understand why they have his character passed away, because thankfully Sean Connery is with us. But in the movie turn, Sean Connery and Harrison Ford are not that, they're not that different age-wise. They had to play that movie-wise, that they had a big age difference. But in real life, they don't have a big age difference. That's why in the documentary Last Crusade, Harrison Ford's like, well, it's not sure if Sean Connery, I mean, playing my dad, he's not that, much older than me. But, they do some makeup or they do some stuff and they fib. So it makes sense. And they have a nice moment where, because a lot of movies won't do this. And believe me, I've seen a lot of movies where Indy sort of is at his desk and he has a nice look and is on Sean Connery, and they play a little bit of music from The Last Crusade. That da 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 da. I thought that was really nice. That's being respectful. You know, they don't just gloss over, just like, hey, Force Awakens, Han Solo died, but we can't worry about that too much because we gotta get to the fucking ending of the movie where we rip off the ending of the Death Star run. But that one gets the praise and this gets a boot in the ass. I don't get it. I don't get it. It's my opinion. I don't get it. I don't get it. And I compare those two because they both have Harrison Ford. They're both sequels to movies that were, 20, 30 years space. And King Crystal Skull, I think, is 10 times, 20 times, and 50 times better than Force Awakens. And yes, I said it. And I know I'm going to get a lot of assholes say, you don't know shit about movies. Fine, I don't know shit about movies. It's still not changing my opinion. Whoop-de-fucking-do. But anyway, I really enjoyed what it was doing with this character of Indy, though. Man, he's lost his job, and Shia LaBeouf shows up. And he's not annoying. He's not irritating. He's talking about Dr. Oxley, a friend of his, and a friend of his mom's, which we find out later who his mom is. And that character is played by John Hurt, which we see later. And Indy's talking about Akator, and it's in Amazon, and there was a city of solid gold, and that the crystal skull was stolen, and then whoever returns it will get power. Oh, that's why they want this specific skull. They've been looking for crystal skulls. That's the specific one they're looking for that belongs to that. And you have this nice scene where the KGB comes in wanting Andy and wanting this little map that Shia LaBeouf gave him. And you get this fun motorcycle chase. Now, a lot of it was done practical. You could tell from watching the film. It's not like them just on a green screen. A lot of this you could tell was done practically, which I really appreciate. Especially compared to movies today like fucking San Andreas. That film didn't get nearly as much shit as this. And what's funny is when this film came out, it made a lot of money. I think it would have been like the biggest hit of the year, but the only one that beat it was Dark Knight. And it got like a 77% on Rotten Tomatoes. But nowadays, it's like cool to hate on the movie or something. Of course, I know how that goes. Well, no, I don't, because I like Avatar, which got like the greatest film of all time when it came out. When I first saw that film, I thought, wow, this film sucks. It's good looking, but it's just a shitty Ferngully fucking Ferngully meets what was that movie? Last Samurai or something? Thought they were, or Dancer with Wolves or something. That's a movie that's fucking boring. Again, my opinion. Well, he took a shit out of The Force Awakens and Avatar. Fuck him. Fuck this. He don't know what he's talking about. He likes hard-hearted Cobra. He don't know shit about movies. I'm sorry. I was just saying that because I know that's some of the comments I've gotten when I do big videos like this. You know shit about fuck. Bullshit my dick, as Richard Pryor would say. And a stand-up from Here and Now, actually, was the one. Bullshit my dick. Just because I don't like certain movies, I like certain movies, doesn't mean I don't know movies. I also love The Shawshank Redemption. Does that give me points? I like Forrest Gump. Does that give me points? No, now some people hate that movie now too. I really like Forrest Gump. I like Shawshank Redemption. That's a heavily praised movie. Do I get my bonus movie points now? Bye. And yeah, like I was saying, you have this fun motorcycle scene. You know, this is after, this is before this, Andy does this thing. Again, Andy is the one in charge. He's like, hit this guy hard. And Shia hits this guy. It's like a frat boy. And it starts this big fight. And then there's like greasers on one side and frat boys on the other. And this fun fight happens with this 50 music playing. And they escape. But they, again, fun motorcycle chase through the school, through the campus. Andy's pulled into off the motorcycle into one car, and Indy's punching and kicking bad guys, and gets right back into the motorcycle. Good stunt work, and even fun humor where they go into the hallway and they slide over, and it's real stunt work. Really well done, where the motorcycle and people are sliding under these desks. Oh, it doesn't. The other films don't have humor like that. Oh yeah, what about Temple of Doom when he's putting the brakes on the minecart? He's like, hot water, 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 water. How about the little monkey doing the Heil in Fighter Raise All Star? That stuff's great. Here is the kids like asking, yeah, Dr. Jones, about a certain lecture. What about this? Oh, don't worry about that. And he gets back on the motorcycle with Shia LaBeouf. You know, also one more thing. If you want to be a good archaeologist, get out of the library. I thought that was great. That was, I mean, I think the humor worked. They didn't just put fucking fart jokes and shit jokes and pussy fart jokes and fucking other shit. The humor is in tone with the rest of the series. That's what I like about it. And Indiana Jones is not a dickhead or anything. Like when he's talking with Shia and Shia's like, oh, I left school. Oh, well, you don't tell me something about a teach? He's like, because he talks about how he's making money fixing motorcycles, and he goes, well, no, if that's what you love doing, don't let anyone tell you different. So Indy's a cool guy. They didn't make him a dickhead or anything. Like, sometimes sequels do that for characters. Or they make, like, I love Universal Soldier, and then they do Regeneration. Oh, we don't turn back to a zombie. Then they don't do Day of Reckoning, another Universal Soldier film. Okay, Luke Devereaux, Jean-Claude Van Damme, you were a zombie in Regeneration. Now you're Colonel Kurtz from Apocalypse Now, and you may be a bad guy, but you also may be a decent guy, or you may be neither, but you're Colonel Kurtz, you have no emotion, you don't die at the end. But that got praise. I don't get it. I don't get it. Just like Alien 3. Alien 3 is now this underrated gem. Kills everybody. If you loved Aliens, which I thought was a popular movie, at least to me, one of my favorite films all the time, Alien 3 kills everybody, and now it's an underrated gem. I'm like, I don't get it. I don't get it. I guess, you know, I'm just getting too old, I guess. I don't know. I mean, so far, what do I have? I have Shia LaBeouf doing fine, Harrison Ford kicking ass as Indiana Jones, kicking ass, taking names, using his whip, punching people, kicking people. I have a fun sequence in a warehouse. I have a fun, yes, it's over the top. It's a fun sequence with the atomic test site. I have a fun motorcycle chase scene. A lot of this stuff is done practically. In fact, even the explosion of the atomic bomb, I think when the town explodes, it was model work. Because I see debris flying and it looks like models. I mean, it doesn't look like models, but it's like, wait a minute, that's when I've seen enough movies to notice these things. If I'm wrong, they did a good job with that scene. But I'm talking about when the houses are flying. I'm like, that looks like model work. In a good way, I mean. See, there's CGI, but there's a good mix of practical. Except the very end. which is where I go with the too much CGI thing. But the rest of it, there's CGI, but there's a good mix of real stuff, which is, I prefer that instead of total CGI. And this movie goes at a fast pace. It's 2 hours, and I didn't get bored at all. Because after the little talk they have, him and Shia, they visit John Hurt's former cell, and they see all these drawings on the floor, and they see this drawing in a cemetery, and they realize that, oh, well, John Hurt was looking for not where this one guy was born, but where he died. And he found where the cemetery was. So we gotta go there. So they get there as that classic Indiana Jones, where it looked like a real set, and going through, and first off, you get another fun action scene where I guess there's some guys hiding in the cemetery or protecting it, tribesmen or whatever, and Indiana Jones hits one right in the face with a shovel. One is trying to kill Shia LaBeouf with one of those poisonous darts with those long things. And I love this. Indy just goes up and just hits the guy right, blows the dart right back into the guy's throat. I thought that was really cool. And Indy steers one with a gun, and Shia goes, "You're a teacher?" And he goes, "Part-time." And I will admit, the part-time that you see in the trailer, I would have preferred, because this part-time has a little bit of a higher pitch. But it didn't bother me. I'm like, okay. I mean, between the two, I would choose the one in the trailer, like if I could edit it. But it didn't bother me. I still liked this. I still liked it. I love the line, part-time. I think that's a great line. And this is classic Indy. There's hidden doors, and there's this thing that wobbles so that one rises and one gets revealed, so it closes one. If you go over here, it rises like this. And tells the Shia, like, come on, genius. So it's Indy being the lead, being the badass. It's not Shia taking control and taking everything away from Indy, which a lot of sequels do nowadays, because they need the younger people to do it. I like that for a film called Indiana Jones, it starred Indiana Jones, and he's doing the shit. I like that. I like that a lot. Very, very, very much. I really, really do. But anyway, they find these dead bodies. One of, I forget the actual person's name. But like one is perfectly preserved because of the wrapping it was in. They find another, and they find this crystal skull. And I said, well, wait a minute. Okay, John Hurt's character had it, but he returned it here. And even Indy's like, well, why did he return it here? Later on, we find out, well, John Hurt tried to return it to the actual spot. He couldn't get in. He was being followed, so he returned here to hide it. He went into a cell. He was going crazy from the thing. Then he realized how they get in there, but by that time he was caught by the Russians. This is what we find out later. I don't think the plot's that bad of him. I mean, the Russians grab him because his asshole turncoat Ray. This Ray Winstone. Ray Stevens is the guy from the Punisher Warzone. Ray Winstone. I've liked him a couple movies. I liked him in The Gunman. I think he was in a movie with Ben Kingsley called Sexy Beast. If it is, I liked him in that movie. Ray Winstone. I thought he did fine here. He was fun character. And pretty much they tie Indy down, and I like what he tells the turncoat guy, Ray Winstone, when I get out of this, I'm going to break your nose. And then later on, when he does, you broke my nose. I told you. I told you I would. And pretty much they're trying to get Indy to look into this skull thing and get some information and talk with John Hurt, which they have. People go, oh, that's silly. Well, in Temple of Doom, once again, they put this thing down his throat and Absalom, 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 Absalom. And I love that stuff. I mean, It works for the film. For the film it was trying to be. And that's where you get Marion, Karen Allen. It was great to see her back. I'm a big fan of Karen Allen. I love her in Starman. I love her in Raiders of the Lost Ark. And I love her in this movie. And, hell, she's in this more than Leia is in The Force Awakens. People say, oh, Marion has nothing to do. Well, let's be honest. What all did she have to do in Raiders of the Lost Ark other than she got put down a pit? She got trapped in an airplane. Granted, she shot some stuff. But then she ran away, and then she got captured when they were on the ship, and then they were tied together. Because I know some people, oh, Carolyn doesn't have much to do. I'm just glad she's along with the journey, and she has some moments, one in particular, which I'll talk about. Fun moment. But, you know, Indy's expression when he sees Marion, just like... I loved it. I loved it. Being a big fan of the first film, it was really great to see those two together, and they still had great chemistry with each other. It was fun to see them. Karen Allen, one of my favorite actresses. Really great to see her, because she doesn't really do movies anymore. It was just a pleasure to see her again. As a fan, that's a good fan letter and love letter to someone who, to see those two together again. It was... I'm a fan. I loved it. I don't understand why other people didn't. I don't get it. Again, I don't get it. And they're the same Spitfire with each other. Why? Looking for a date? Yeah, just... And Shia goes for a distraction. Again, Shia's care is not useless. He's not whining. He's not complaining. He's like, he's not doing any of that. He's either being quiet or he's helping out, like throwing stuff, punching a guy, steeping, and they get in Indy and Marion get in quicksand. Granted, it's technically not quicksand; it's like dry type of thing, but it's quicksand. I'm thinking, of course, I can't believe we've been 4 films into Indiana Jones film, and now we get a quicksand scene. Again, no, technically it's not quicksand, but I'm calling it that. But it's like quicksand. This is like one of the typical things for an adventure movie. Ever since, you know. Can't believe it took to a 4th film to do a quicksand scene. And that's when he finds out that Shia LaBeouf is his son. And I love his turncoat, where it's like, well, why the hell did you make him finish school? And Shia LaBeouf gets his mom out, Marion, out, and then the rope he's found is a snake. And it's a real, like, looks like a real snake. It's not a CGI snake or a shitty-looking fake snake. And then he's like, just don't call it a snake. Call it a rope. Then grab the rope. I love that. It's a nice reference. See, that's a reference that works. That's a reference that's fun. Oh, Indy's afraid of snakes. Let's have that. That's a fun way to do it. He's got to hold on to a snake to save his life because it's the only rope they have. That's a great idea. I love that. And pretty much the bad guys, they're clearing the trail through the jungle. They escape and they have some fun banter. And Marion, I like when she said, oh, I'm sure you've had a lot of girls and blah, blah, blah. And I love Indy's response. Well, you know what? Yeah, but what was the word exactly? They all had the same problem. They weren't you, honey. And then Karen Allen has like this huge smile on her face. And I loved it. I mean, and they beat up the bad guys, and Marion's driving, and Shia's in the front, and Indy gets a fucking bazooka out and blows the fucking truck up. And this thing comes, and they avoid it. Which that, I don't know how you could do that practical. That'd be pretty dangerous. So I'm fine with that CGI touch. I like the fact Indy uses a fucking bazooka. Because he didn't get to do that in Raiders of the Lost Ark. He stopped. Here, it's like, hey, bazooka, fucking let him fire that shit. Again, Indy, is that so fucking... Just how many you have Transformers films, they're not the stars of the movie. You have Ninja Turtle films by Michael Bay's stupid producing ass. They're not the stars of the movie. You have fucking... How many other movies? the title, they're not the star of the movie. Indiana Jones is the actual star of the movie. Harrison Ford and fucking Mark Hamill are definitely not the stars of Force Awakens. Indiana Jones is the actual star of the movie. Holy shit. Doing stuff, kicking ass. That's what I wanted in a movie. And you get this fun car chase. There's some CGI enhancements, but they were doing it in the jungle. And you have, I like the way it was filmed. There's not a lot of quick cuts. It's letting the scenes tell the story and having some fluid motions with the camera work. And a lot of cool stuff. Indy jumping on the back of a car and punching a shitload of guys. Shia LaBeouf holding his own and having a sword fight with Cate Blanchett in between a couple cars. Yeah, you didn't need the little scene where Shia LaBeouf gets held up by vines and he has some monkeys. One practical and then it's a bunch of CGI monkeys. You didn't need that scene, but it's like, again, probably 40-50 seconds total combined. It doesn't ruin the movie for me. Yeah, if an editing machine, I would edit it out, but it doesn't ruin the movie for me. As this fun back and forth, one has this crystal skull, the other has it, one has it, the other has it. Ray Winstone on, Jonesy! And then Indy just punched him in the face. And he's like, no, I'm a CIA, I'm a double agent. And then just all the back and forth, it was a lot of fun. It was entertaining, and they pretty much crashed their cars, and now you have like flesh-eating ants. Which that, I can understand the CG, because you can't do that with practical. And some scenes I like. I mean, I like the Indy's having a fight, and you have that classic sound effects beating the shit out of the guy, and the Indy's bleeding from the nose. It's just hammering, boom, boom, boom. And then the guy falls down. I actually like this shot where the ants are like crawling to the guy's mouth, and they literally carry him back into their hole. I like the idea behind it, that these ants are just carrying its big meal back to their hole. I like that idea behind it. And then Marion gets her big moment where the bad guys and Cate Blanchett are on their tail, and you're driving off a cliff, and she's like, I know. And she drives off, and she knows there's a big like tree thing that cushions her fall, and it lands to the water. So there she proved useful for people who say she's absolutely useless. Well, that scene she was useful. And then the fun thing where they realize they have to go through 3 fucking waterfalls. Which again is the kind of stuff that happens all the time in these Indiana Jones films. But when they get to the actual temple, there's a lot of, before the very, very end, there's a lot of practical sets. Which, watching again, maybe it's because the Blu-ray quality, which is great Blu-ray quality, I'll say that. The Blu-ray picture quality is great. Maybe because of that, but a lot of these sets are real. I mean, yeah, the faraway shots, like when they're running down and tribesmen are chasing after them. The very faraway shots are CGI, but I think it's well done CG. That part's well done when it's just the wide shots of the temple. And the tribesmen, and then they stop because they're shown the skull and they run off. Kind of like the beginning of Raiders of the Lost Ark, where the idol and the tribes sort of bow. But when they get to the actual temple and try to get the entrance, there's some good practical stuff and cool mechanism where if you hit these tablets, sand will fall, and you have to hit all these tablets, and the sand falls down, and then they fall through. And like there was this one thing where this was done practically. It's like 4 pillars, they all converge into one. Like I could tell that stuff was done for real. And I especially love the bit where they have these steps and they realize the steps are closing in, And so it's timed. So they have to get down, otherwise there's a spiked pit down below. So hurry, go faster, run faster. And they have to run down all these steps. And that looked pretty real. So again, was a really fun scene. This is the kind of stuff I want to see. Big fisticuffs, car chases. This real going through traps like that. And they find all this stuff from different cultures, and they realize these things, they're archaeologists. I like the idea. Someone else being archaeologists of our world, our culture. I like that. And then you realize Ray Winstone, he actually is part with the bad guys. He left these transistors, and Cate Blanchett and some soldiers are there. And yeah, this is where you get the bit where it's too much CGI. Because Cate Blanchett puts the skull, and it's fine here. And there's like 12 more. And again, I guess if you look at the real legend, it's like if you put the 13 skulls there, it's the underworld, but they didn't go with that legend. It's based on it, but they did their own thing with it. Again, just like they did with the Holy Grail, and just like they did with, I doubt the Holy Grail is hidden, the nice thing is hidden under a church. Otherwise, I think we would have found the Holy Grail if that's how it was in Last Crusade. Hey, let's watch the movie and then we'll go find it. So they base it and then they do their own thing. But, I almost get a sense like the aliens know that Cate Blanchett is a bitch. Now, I'll mention that in a bit. But pretty much Indy and the others, by the time John Hurt, he's out of his phase and now he's normal. The others escape. Ray Winstone gets pulled away. Indy tries to help him because he's the good guy, but doesn't work. And Cate Blanchett wants knowledge, which is their treasure. These things treasure, it's not gold. So it wasn't really a city of gold, it was knowledge. Was the actual treasure. And things are falling apart or being sucked up, and yeah, this is the scene where it's too much CGI. We'll like a bit more practical, or that's something you can tone down. Just for look-wise, practical. A little bit more practical in that scene would have been nice. But when the alien sort of forms and has skin, because by this time it's just a skeleton, it kind of looks at Cate Blanchett, it kind of squints as if, fuck you, bitch. Because then she burns up. So I kind of think of it as like the aliens, they know Indy's cool, and they know this girl's a bitch. It just that looks like, almost as if saying, fuck you, bitch. It just burns her up. But yeah, this scene is too much CGI, I will admit. But when they escape and then they go through this water and they rise up, and the faraway shot where you see the whole land spinning in this sort of old school flying saucer, I like that shot. Made CGI, but I actually like that shot. That shot actually looks pretty cool to me. It's just the stuff inside the temple when everything's being sucked up, and some of the Russian soldiers being sucked up to the ceiling, that looked too much CGI. But the wide shot of the flying saucer where they're not from space, they're from dimensions, or like the space between the spaces. I like that shot. And long story short, the thing ends, and some nice little back and forth between the characters, and it ends with Indy and Marion getting married. And like I said, you think it's going to be a passing of the torch, but it's not passing the torch, which is what I also liked. Because Shia's about to put that fedora on, and Indy takes it. And that classic Indiana Jones theme pops up. And I know this is a long review, it may be too long, but fuck it. This is a defending. I wanted to dot the I's and cross the T's. It deserves it. It's what I call one of the best sequels of all time. No. My point is, it is not one of the worst sequels of all time. It is not that fucking horrible. It is not that fucking bad. I can name literally hundreds of movies worse than Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. One of the worst sequels of all time, really? Have you seen Troll 2? Which I can have fun on a bad level. Have you seen American Ninja 4 and 5? Have you seen fucking Beverly Hills Cop 3? Have you seen fucking Jaws the Revenge or Superman 4 or fucking... I love Christopher Reeve, but Superman 4 is not that great. Have you seen Halloween 5? Have you seen... Hell, Friday the 13th Part 8? I can watch and have fun as a time waster, but I'm not going to defend it. I'll defend this, but like Friday the 13th Part 8, I did that review. It's on my channel. I like all the Friday the 13th films, honestly. If I had picked a least, it'd be Part 8. But I can watch it like a time waster and have some fun with it, but even if I watch a review, I'm not really defending it. This I'll put my dukes up and defend. And yeah, this is much better than Friday the 13th Part 8. I mean, if someone said Friday the 13th Part 8 is one of the worst sequels, I can understand. And I'm like, yeah, you got me on that. That's just one. Nightmare on Elm Street 5 sucks. I love the Nightmare on Elm Street films, but Part 5, The Dream Child sucks. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 4, Texas Chainsaw 3D, 3 dicks in my face. Those are fucking bad sequels. And if you like those sequels, that's fine. I'm not going to ridicule you or anything. I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of ridicule from this. Is this fucking long? Yeah, because when I started, I made sure to time it. It's now 1 hour and maybe, what, 15 minutes? Okay, let me keep going. Because I timed it right from the get-go. I'm sure you, I guarantee you look down and say, was this fucking long? You think I was going to fucking watch it? No. I'll fucking don't give shit. What do you fucking do? Maybe I'm not impressed with your opinions. But yeah, anyway, all fucking around aside. Yeah, I had a lot of fun, and I did not realize this would be this long, but fuck it. You don't end with a bang. I love all 4 of these Indiana Jones films. I did reviews for all these. They're great entertainment. Fun popcorn movies. Great adventure stories. I know there's talks for Part 5, and the reason I don't look forward to it is Harrison Ford was really old by this time, but I thought he handled himself. But now it's been 8 years after. 8 years. And then if you do an indie film, what? It's going to be, what? Maybe a year or 2 at the least? So that's at least, let's say 10 years after that? And then they're going to look at this film, which I enjoy, obviously. You know that by now. And they're probably just going to remake the first film, Raiders of the Lost Ark, and they're just going to... This time, Indy really is going to pass the torch this time, and this time, he's not going to be in it that much, and... Lately, sequels have not been that good, and that's why. Especially like stuff like Jurassic World, I didn't care for. I know a lot of people loved it, but I didn't. Force Awakens, you already know my thoughts on that. Independence Day 2, the Thane prequel. Good Day to Die Hard, Die Hard 5, unfortunately. This comes from a guy that did a video defending Live Free or Die Hard. That's another Part 4. I realize I love a lot of Part 4s. Rambo 4, Friday the 13th Part 4, Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4, Rocky 4, yeah, Die Hard 4, Rambo 4, Indiana Jones 4. Yeah, there's a lot of Part 4s I love. But I guess 4 is a good number. Yeah, Elm Street 4 is like my favorite Elm Street film. Rocky 4 is my favorite Rocky film. Rambo 4 I love. Saw that in the theater. Same year as this. Seen Indiana Jones and Rambo in a theater in the same year. That's a good year for movies to me. At least better than this year. So, I'm kind of tired out. I didn't know it'd be this long. But yeah, I really enjoy this film. Love it. I think... Is it as good as the first 3? No. But that's a tall order. Because that's like... You could probably say it's like the best trilogy of all time. At that point. I enjoy the Back to the Future films and other stuff. Rambo films, I love all 4 of them. So you can't really... I know people call this a trilogy because they don't like the 4th one. But to me, I think all 4 films are good. And I love this character. If they did a part 5 like in 2010, like 2 years after part 4, or 2011, or maybe 2012, maybe, but you know, I think now it is too late. But anyway, I'll do a couple more videos. First off, I will do a video about the Blu-ray set. Special thanks goes to DMC. All films look great on Blu-ray. Features are great. Love the case of this. Just sucks that you have to push them in, but still, I'll talk about that in the video. And another nice guy named Matt. I don't want to say his last name just in case, but Matt S. sent me this. The story of the greatest fan film ever made, a documentary. And I will review this for him, because he was nice enough to send me this, message me on Facebook, say, hey, can I send this to you? I'm like, yeah. And I will do a review for this, and you'll see it in a couple days. So, thanks for watching, take care, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.